Lesson 4.7, Convert Between Systems. To convert between measurement systems, you can multiply by fractions to convert between customary and metric units. The table below lists common customary and metric relationships. So this table right here is going to help us go from customary to metric. We're used to going from customary to customary or metric to metric. Now we're going to go in between the systems. So let's go down and try an example. If we look at example A, our directions say complete, round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. Remember, the hundredth is 2 places after the decimal point. So the first one we have 6 yards is about how many meters? So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start with what they give me. I have 6 yards, and I want to take that times, and I want to get meters. Okay, when we're taking it times yards and meters, we want our yards to cancel, so we're left with meters. So before, when we multiplied fractions and we cross-simplified, we took a numerator and simplified it with the denominator. So since I have yards in the numerator, I need to put it in the denominator to cancel or simplify. And then I want to put meters in the numerator because that's what I'm trying to get to. And then I go back up and look at my chart, and I see how do they compare yards to meters. Well, it says that 1 yard is 91 hundredths of a meter. So now I have to follow exactly what my label says. There's 1 by the yards, so I put a 1 next to yards, and 91 hundredths of a meter. So now my yards will simplify down, and then I multiply straight across. 6 times 91 hundredths is 5 and 46 hundredths, and 1 times 1 is 1. Then I simplify it. I would have 5 and 46 hundredths of a meter. Okay, example C, we have 17 meters is about how many yards? So again, I'm going to start with what do they give me? I have 17 meters. I'm going to take that times, again, I want to get rid of my meters. So I'm going to put meters in the denominator, and I'm going to put yards in the numerator because that's what I'm trying to get. So again, I go back up to my chart. It told me 1 yard is 91 hundredths of a meter. So again, there's 1 yard, so I have to put 1 next to the yards label. And then it's 91 hundredths of a meter, so I put 91 hundredths over meters. And then I multiply. My meters are gone. So 17 times 1 is 17. 1 times 91 hundredths is 91 hundredths. And then again, I have to simplify. So I'm going to take 17 divided by 91 hundredths, and I would get 18 and 68 hundredths. Again, we round to the nearest hundredth, which is 2 places after the decimal point. Then we always have to label, which is yards. Okay, so again, when I'm going from customary to metric or metric to customary, I have to set up my fractions, put my labels opposite of each other that I want to cancel, and then fill in according to my chart. So if we turn to the next page and try a couple more. Again, we're going to complete. We're going to round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. So example D, we have 7 and 4400 cups is about how many milliliters? Again, I'm going to start with what do I know? I have 7 and 44 hundredths cups. I'm going to take that times. Again, I want cups to cancel or to simplify down to 1, so I make them opposite of each other, diagonal, and I'm changing to milliliters. Again, I go to my chart, and I see how do I compare cups to milliliters? Well, it tells me 1 cup is 236 and 59 hundredths of a milliliter. So once I have my fractions filled in, I can now simplify my cups. So I'm left with milliliters. And then I can go ahead and multiply. So I take 7 and 44 hundredths times 236 and 59 hundredths. And I get 1,760 and 23 hundredths. And then 1 times 1, which is 1, simplifies down to about 1,760 and 23 hundredths of a milliliter. Okay? If we look at example F, again, I need to start with what I know. I have 35 and 85 hundredths of a liter. I want to know about how many gallons is that. So I start with 35 and 85 hundredths of a liter. I'm going to take that times. Again, I want my liters to cancel, so I'm going to put it down in the denominator. And I'm trying to find gallons. So if I go up to my chart, how do I compare gallons to liters? Well, it tells me 1 gallon is 3 and 7/9 hundredths of a liter. Now that I have my 2 fractions filled in, I can simplify my liters, and I can multiply straight across. 35 and 85 hundredths times 1 is 35 and 85 hundredths. Then 1 times 3 and 79 hundredths is 3 and 79 hundredths. Again, I need to simplify this. I just want to know in one term how many gallons would it be. So I take numerator divided by denominator. When I divide those, I would get 9 and 46 hundredths. Again, my label that's left over is gallons, so I would say it is gallons. I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth, so again, that's 2 places after the decimal point, so I stopped at 6.